For section 4.4, we're going to learn that there is another way that we can prove triangles congruent. Just like yesterday we did the side, angle, side, and angle, side, angle. Today we're going to learn about angle, angle, side congruence.
Whoa. What?
Okay. All right, so we have angle, angle, side congruence theorem. Right, so it's AAS. So basically this one says, we did angle, side, angle yesterday. So this is going to have our angles inside in a different place. Huh? Theorem. Micah, be nice. All right, so angle, angle, side is when you have two angles congruent. So like that one and this one. And then you have a side that's congruent, but the side is not going to be between the angles like it was yesterday. It's one of the other sides. So like this one. So you have like an angle, and then a side. So the congruent side is not between the two angles this time. What is called the Isosceles triangle theorem?
That was me. Sorry.
It's okay. I'm also recording all of that, by the way. All right. So, what is an isosceles triangle? Who remembers? Two what are congruent? Two sides are congruent, right. So you have a triangle that has two congruent sides. So this theorem says that if you have two sides of a triangle congruent, then the base angles of the isosceles triangle would also be congruent. So those two bottom angles in an isosceles triangle are always congruent. Also have 4.5, which is titled this. And so with this section, we have the last triangle congruence theorem, which is side, side, side. And that one just says if each side of one triangle is congruent to the corresponding side of a second triangle, then the two triangles are congruent. So let's say we have this triangle. So that means like if this side is congruent to this side, and this side is congruent to this side, and this side is congruent to this side, that means that our triangles are congruent.
All of them are congruent when it's a triangle. But that's
Well, we don't like the sides and the angles have to be congruent. Is what we first learned, right? But now, like, if the sides are congruent, then the angles would also have to be. So again, we only have to have like 3 parts congruent, not necessarily. But now we can say that all these corresponding angles are congruent to each other as well.
But then you can't do angle, angle, angle?
No.
What if all the angles are the same, then aren't all the same?
No. Let's talk about why that's true. Everybody good with this one? So, that is a good, if we have a triangle that looks like this, right? That has those angle measurements. So, the angles in a triangle always add up to what? 180. So, if I have a triangle, but if I make it bigger, my angle measures are still going to be the same, right? Because they still have to add to 180. But are those 2 triangles congruent? No, because one's way bigger than the other. So that's why the angle, angle, angle one doesn't work. You can have the same angle measures, but not necessarily have congruent triangles, because the size of the triangle has to be the same as well. So, does that kind of make more sense now?
So you can have the same angle measures, but the sides are different?
This doesn't work. That's why like angle, angle, angle doesn't work. Because you can have the same angle measures but different size triangles. So if you look at the chart that's on page 179, I'll put it up on the board too.
Is that why it's side angle?
Yeah, so look at side angle, right? So we have this side congruent to this side congruent here, but a different angle congruent. But those are still 2 different triangles.
What page is it?
That's on page 179. Right, so these are the 4 methods you can use to prove that triangles are congruent.
Okay.
Right, so and these 2 don't work. And that's really it. That's in 4.5. They just talk about side, and then they kind of put it all together and explain why the other 2 don't work, which is what we just did. So we're done.
Wow.